So sometimes, and studying more on that lamp thing, they said, there's an old song that the old saints used to say, keep your lamps trimmed and burning.
Yeah.
Now when you trim a lamp, I know we don't know nothing about that, but when you trim a lamp, those kind of lamps had a little wick on them, just like you see in the camera. Sometimes after you burn that so long, it'll get dirty and it'll get wood. But see, it's still more wicker down in there. And if you trim that part, you still got a little more to work with. God say, I understand that you get burnt out sometimes, but I gave you enough that you look down deeper in it. There's still a little bit left. So you just cut that little bit. Cut the part that's burnt out. Cut the part that's not of use anymore. I still got a lot more for you to keep on burning. Somebody say, well, how can you put that with the word of God? When you cut it, you throw it away. Lay aside every weight and every sin. That's so easy to forget. So the oil, you have to keep pouring oil there. You got to be careful. You can't pour too much oil in there because then it'll splash and put your fire out. But you can't put too little oil in there because you might not get that fire going. But if you put just enough oil in there, because see, you can always add oil as needed. Sometimes with God, we want too much at one time and we get wasteful. But sometimes we want too little and we limit God. But God, just like I did with Israel, I gave them just enough for the day's journey. God said, I'm going to give you just enough for the day's journey. And I'm reminded of a song that says another day's journey. And I'm so glad because I looked and I still got enough for the journey. So, so after they had asked them for some more, they didn't want to give it to them because, they wanted to make sure they had enough for the Lord. So they had to run all the way across town to get some more. And I did a study on it. They said at that time, considering when the time it was around midnight, the oil folk was already closed. So they had to go in, wake them up, and because we know ain't nothing new under the sun, they probably got overcharged for some oil then because they had to wake up, do all that other stuff. So they had to go, get refuel, had to run back, and by the time they got to the morning, the door had been locked. The door had been locked, and he was knocking on the door saying, they were knocking on the door saying, please let me in. But the man said, I don't know you. See, some of the parties, they say, free before midnight. So that means you got to go up in there. But what happened with us, the reason we don't want, even at a club, the reason we end up having to pay is because we don't want to exercise patience. We don't want to stand in the line. I'm going to talk to us clubbers because I know some folk in here love me and I respect it. For those of us who have clubs or still clubs, you stand in that line and it just get long and it don't seem like it's moving. But one thing keep you in that line is when the closer you get to that door, the more you get apart. Amen? And so a lot of times you in that line, you be like, man, I might as well leave. It ain't going to be that much. It ain't going to just cost too much. It ain't even worth it. But the closer you get to the door, you hear that bass get a little louder and a little louder. The closer you get to that door, you see somebody getting their dance on. The closer you get to that door, you see a fine woman or a fine man walking up in there. You realize then that although I'm not in there yet, I've come too far to turn around, so I got to stay. Because I'm too close to it now to get back on them. So I want to tell you, they don't be tardy for the party. You don't know what time the party going to start, but you know it's going to be a party. All you got to do is RSVP, repent, walk in salvation. Speak, Lord. All you got to do is RSVP. Don't worry about when your ride going to get there. Sometimes when we ask for a ride, well, what time you coming? And they say you don't need to worry about what time I'm coming. You just need to be ready when I come. I hear God say, don't worry about what time I'm coming. You just need to be ready when you come. Because I hear God say, since I'm the one throwing the party, I'm the one playing the party. Since the party is playing at my house, I'm not going to be late to the party because I am the party. The party will start till I get there. And how many hosts you know good enough to come pick you up to come to that party? But God said, I want you at my party so much that I'm going to come pick you up. I'm going to leave my house and I'm going to come get you. But you can't be tardy for the party. Because see, you got to keep your oil. You got to keep your lamp traded ready. You got to keep your vessel right. You got to keep the spirit in stay charged up. You got to stay refilled. You got to stay lit. Because when he come in the midnight hour, you got to know the way to get to it. Because the last thing you want to do, and this might sound crazy, you don't want to walk to the driveway, walking on the way to the cloud, and fall down and bust your head. But I hear God saying, if you ain't lit for the journey, you might fall down and bust your head. And I ain't got time to wait on you. Because I got a lot of folk that got to be picked up. I got folks who've been and kept their lamps trimmed and burning. I got folks who didn't bow down to Baal. I got folks who cried loud and spake. I got folks who ready now. I got folks been steady calling me, asking me when I'm going to get there. Some of y'all think y'all so good, y'all just got to wait. Y'all ain't got to call. But I got folks just still calling. And when you pray, what you saying is, Lord, are you still coming to get me? When you pray, you say, Lord, I'm ready to go where you are. When you pray, you say, Lord, I'm dressed. When you pray, Lord, I'm ready. When you pray, Lord, my hair fixed. So you can't be tardy for the party. I don't know what time the party started, but I know it's going to be a party. And I can tell you, you know, sometimes when you invite somebody to the party, you be like, I don't know who all going to be there, but I know who's throwing it, so I know it's going to be off the chain. I hear God say, oh, Lord. I hear God saying, I'm throwing the party, and it's going to be off the chain, because a chain bound you. I want to take you off the chain. I want to take you off the chain. So I want to tell you, he's getting ready. He's fixing up the house. And the house almost ready. But very soon, we're going to see the king. It's in the moment of the twinkling of an eye, so it might seem long to you. But God getting ready. He's fixing it up. The party getting ready. Don't you be tardy for the party. God bless you.